So, Roxy, what are you up to on November the 9th?
Well, Katie, I'm going to be attending Wedcon 2022. What about you?
Of course we are. So, Wedcon, we're going to be bringing 6 amazing speakers covering topics such as pricing, blogging, marketing and branding. There's going to be drop-in business clinics. There's going to be the opportunity to network with the two of us, isn't there?
Yeah, Wedcon 2022 is designed to inspire you, motivate and teach new strategies to grow your wedding business, and we want to see you there.
We can't wait. So if you've not got your ticket yet, make sure you hop over and reserve it now. There's limited tickets available. You need to head to theweddingbusinesshub.com/Wedcon, November the 9th. Save the date. This year it's in Birmingham. Hi, welcome back to this episode number 32 of the Web Pro podcast. It's lovely to have you here. Thank you very much for listening. We love to have you here, don't we, Roxy? Whoop, whoop.
Welcome. Hello. How are you all doing? I hope you're doing very, very well. And you are, as per our last podcast, staying hydrated. And hopefully we give you much motivation.
And love it. I'm just loving life. So today we are... I'm in one today. Sorry, everyone. I'll be like, oh guys, Katie's, what's happened to Katie?
What's happened to Katie is that she's melting.
Melting. Rewind.
Rewind. When the clock said, well, that used to be a banging tune. Just saying.
1000%. My kids ever listen to this, they're gonna be like, God, you're so uncool, Mum. And taking it back, we have had our podcast for over 2 years. Probably 2.5 years now. For those of you that have been with us, the OGs from the beginning, hi, thank you so much for sticking with us. But we've picked up a lot of people along the way, haven't we?
We have, yeah. And if you think about it, a lot's changed in that amount of time, right? A lot's gone on.
Absolutely. So for those of you that kind of aren't into our circle, or you're kind of coming at the pod for the first time, or you've not maybe picked up the pod recently and you don't know too much about these two crazy women that chat all things business and what goes on in their life and try and give you some hints and tips along the way as to how to run your wedding business, we thought today we would just give you kind of a little bit of background really into us, what our lives are like, what makes each of us tick, our flaws. Should we talk about our flaws as well? Should we get a few of them?
Oh yeah, let's do this. Yeah. I mean, like you might be tuning in and thinking, who are they? Who are they?
Who is she? Just so that you can kind of get to know us a little better. So thank you so much for showing up. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much for those of you that subscribe. If you don't subscribe yet and you want to get a hold of our podcast episodes, and you don't have to go and click that annoying download, you can go and find them when they come out, make sure you do hit subscribe. Leave us a 5-star review as well. It really helps other people to find us. And I think one of our past reviews actually has inspired this episode, because somebody said, oh, ladies, it's like listening to a friend. And I just loved that one. I just loved that one.
So nice. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So I suppose really we'll just rewind the clock a little bit and kind of talk about weddings, wedding industry. Was this the plan for forever? How we kind of got into the industry, and then how we got into doing what we do now.
Yeah. So I suppose you should really start, because it all started kind of with you and your bridal shop. Yeah,
I'm just looking. My dog is he's having a little sleep, but he's propped up, sat up, having a little sleep. He just looks adorable. I'm gonna have to send a picture. I'm gonna have to put this on Instagram stories.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
He's propped up, sat up asleep. Bless him. It started. Did it start? So,
but it didn't start with the bridal shop, did it? It kind of started.
No, the plan never really was for me to have my own business. Not gonna lie, like, ever since I was yay high, I wanted to be a teacher. That's what I wanted to do. I loved being around children, and then when I got my own, I certainly decided that wasn't for me. No, I wanted to be a teacher, kind of plodded along through school, got the grades I needed to, moved away to university, started university, and I went to university in Birmingham, and it was worlds away from where I kind of grew up and came from. So I went to kind of a Catholic education, that sort of education, quite a strict education actually, and not very diverse. And then moved away from home to Birmingham, got a lot of freedom, a lot of cultures, a lot of diversity, which is all fantastic, but just worlds away. And I probably also wasn't the most independent or mature 18-year-old. Like, my parents didn't really give me a lot of responsibility growing up. Wasn't really allowed to manage my own money. I was very much, I'm one of four, so I was very much helping my younger brothers and sisters out all of the time, and hadn't really found my feet as to who I was as a person. So I went to university, studied teaching, very quickly realised that teaching wasn't really for me, and actually partying probably was a little bit more for me. Spent a few,
at that age.
Few too many times out having and going to lectures with my eyeballs kind of like, I'm not in the zone. But anyway, yeah, I wasn't really enjoying it. So I wasn't really enjoying learning about teaching and being away from home and any of that. So yeah, I left teaching and when I was about 20, and I then had kind of this like mini crisis of I've wanted to do this all my life. There was no other option out there for me other than to be a teacher. That's all I said since I was young, and didn't really know the direction I was going or what to do, but I didn't want to move back home. I really liked my independence, my freedom. So I started to just, I'd come out of that student lifestyle. I needed a job, I needed some money. So I started to kind of work in bars and clubs, and ended up running my own pub. So that kind of fell in my lap, really. Went to go and work for, I worked for a quite known British pub chain, and part of this pub chain that wasn't so great was they weren't great at paying their staff on time, and also quite often they weren't great at paying their staff the amount that they should be paying. So when you're young and you're like very righteous about what's right and wrong in the world, I kind of was like, I've had enough of this. It's been 6 months of me not being paid properly or not being paid on time. So I walked out of my job and I walked into like a backstreet pub in the centre of Birmingham, like an independently run pub. And within a week of working there, just as a part-time bar assistant, while I was kind of figuring out what I was going to do with my life, the manager left and the owner of the pub just said, "Hey, do you want to just run the pub for me?" And I was like, okay, yeah, whatever, yeah. Fab.
Is this where the Peggy Mitchell and you came out?
Get out of that pub! That actually did happen. It was a learning curve, and it was my first kind of like taste of business and taste of marketing. And so he owned the pub and had absolutely no involvement other than owning it and ringing me 24/7. He was a horrible boss to work for. But that was kind of my first taste of business. Like, the pub wasn't very busy, so I was trying to like get more money in the till, etc. So yeah, that was kind of my first taste of business. But I'd already decided I'd taken almost 2 years out of university by then, and I decided that September I was going to go back and finish my degree. Even though I knew I wasn't going to be a teacher, I just thought, oh gosh, what am I doing? I'm kind of floating, I'm coasting, I've not really got a direction of my life. So I decided in the September I was going to go back to university. Fast forward, then I had my babies, and yeah, I was relatively quite young, not as young as you were, but I was quite young in the scheme of things. I was like 24 when I had my kids, and the kind of setup in my household was that my then partner, he became my husband, he was kind of the breadwinner, earned more money, so he was going to go to work and I was going to stay at home and look after the kids. That's how it worked. I wasn't earning enough money, and that happens for a lot of people, doesn't it? So
yeah, that's kind of just how it was for, yeah, like I say, a lot of people.
And I struggled with that a little bit, actually, and I think a lot of people will kind of relate to this, is that I kind of was floating in this kind of space of being just a mum, which is so horrible to say because it's actually such a super important role, and you're busy and you never get
Isn't it?
Yeah. You don't get sick pay and you're never allowed to take a day off or be poorly, or your life just revolves around somebody else that just demands your time constantly, and it's always about putting your needs last. And I definitely found that an adjustment, to say the least. And yes, it was very fulfilling to be a parent and to be a mother, and I love my children absolutely dearly, but I just found that there was a part of me that was missing, and this like my brain wasn't really getting as much what's the word I'm looking for, like
fulfillment, kind of. Yeah, I just feel a little bit kind of like you were a mum and not a Katie.
Yeah, that's what it was. Like I was losing a little bit of myself. And so anyways, like some people, who are these people, would kind of say to me constantly, oh, like, what are you doing? I think my son was coming up for kind of 1, 2. What are you doing? Are you going to go back to work? And that was a no, because it didn't financially benefit me to go back to work. We were just going to be spending too much in childcare. My partner worked really long hours. He worked in a private school, so he was kind of gone from 7 till 6 every day. I was kind of, it was me, like up with the kids, putting the kids to bed, all the bathing, all that sort of stuff. So, and he worked 2 jobs as well. So then he would work away at weekends, DJ away. So it wasn't really sustainable for me to get a job. So lots of talk of, oh, we're going to start a business. You should start a business. Like, it's easy. And that's how I really fell into the bridal world. So when my partner proposed, and this second part of kind of my story, really, in terms of where I was at the time, was and really interjects quite deeply into kind of my money beliefs and my limiting beliefs that held me back for years and years and years in my business and moving my mindset on, was because I wasn't the breadwinner and bringing in the money, and I actually had no money. Like, my partner's money was the family's money, and I didn't feel like I was contributing to the money. When we were getting married, and obviously there were expenses to pay for the wedding, I very quickly found out that the cost of things was going to be considerably higher than perhaps what I'd already originally thought. And I attached quite a bit of guilt to those purchases because I felt like I wasn't contributing financially towards them. Some of them I could kind of write off, but one of the ones that I really struggled to write off was the cost of my wedding dress, and kind of feeling that I'd not purchased my own dress, and these were limiting beliefs that I kind of had, and I've worked over being able to get over those over the last kind of few years, but just kind of beliefs that I kind of surrounded around that led me to my business idea. So things all happen for a reason. So when I found out that the cost of wedding dresses were like as high as they were, I'm going back a long time now. God, 10 years? 10 years, wow, that's a long time.
On your fingers and your toes.
yeah, 10 years. It just really wasn't in my budget, and the options available were secondhand, like from eBay or China, and both of those didn't offer you much consumer protection. There wasn't chains of like discount bridal shops available like there are now. There wasn't really anything out there. So I wanted to kind of look for a different kind of way to source my own wedding dress. So I came across, actually, on eBay, somebody selling like a bulk load of example dresses, and I was like, like, surely there is not just me in this market that is looking for a dress that isn't kind of in the thousands and thousands, and maybe only has like a few £100 to spend on a wedding dress, or up to £1,000 to spend on a dress. And that's how I kind of got into the bridal market. So I kind of had this idea. The first thing I did was buy kind of one of those bulk lots on eBay, and then I would sell those dresses. I set up a Facebook page, and I would sell those dresses from my rented house, from my son's bedroom. And I did that for kind of 2 years on and off, to give me a little bit of purpose, to use my brain, to make a little bit of pocket money on the side. And it was really nice because it didn't come with any pressure in terms of, if I sold a few dresses that month, it was extra money. My family's finances ran without that money, so it was just like extra pocket money, and it was nice. and it gave me a little bit of fulfillment and things to do in the evenings and nap times, etc.
I have a question. So how easy was it to, or hard was it to kind of get your head around like the marketing of the bridal shop when you selling wedding dresses from your son's bedroom, like when you first began? It's something you always found easy, or is it something that you...
I'm not gonna lie, like it didn't faze me whatsoever. I don't know why. Like marketing is just never. It's not like I've got a degree in marketing. I just bootstrapped and just learned from the ground up. So I read some books. I invested in. I'm not going to say I invested in coaches or anything like that because I didn't. But I just tested everything. So I understood how Facebook worked. Like, and this is something that we brought into the bridal shop when I did get a shop about 3 years later, and that's where you came in and you came to work for me in the shop. That this kind of value added social media strategy that we kind of had stuck with us in the bridal shop as well. I think initially it was just about getting the name out there. So this is what I'm doing. Come and find me. And I would run like lots of crazy deals. So I did like dress auctions. I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I would do penny dress auctions.
No, I didn't know about this.
Yeah, and then get people to do, so like, you know, that lowest unique bids.
Yeah.
So I would do that on our dresses to get like loads of just traction and people to kind of share on social media and stuff. And it just came kind of naturally, and I bootstrapped. And also I think it was nice that there wasn't that pressure. So because I didn't have a premises and staff to pay and overheads as such, there wasn't that pressure, so you could try things and not feel so
like your business depended on it, kind of thing. Like,
yeah, and I think that's where creativity dies, isn't it? And we say this quite a lot, like in desperation, it's really difficult to be creative. So without that pressure and that safety net that I had, kind of thing, it was good. So then, yeah, kind of fast forward, I was kind of thinking, oh God, if I can do this from my bedroom, I can do this from. Imagine what I could do from a shop. So I was kind of, and to paint the scene, like it was my son's bedroom. They'd come, the bridal party would come in, and the bride would get changed in my bathroom. It wasn't even like a nice house, really. It was what we could afford at the time. And yeah, I could sell, and loved it, and got a buzz for it. And some of my first clients actually, I've become friends now, like because
that's so nice.
Yeah, they just liked my story, and they liked where I came from. And I think that was something as well, that I wasn't shy about sharing my story, and that resonated, and people kind of were either going to like me or they weren't going to like me. And I was like, this is why I started the business. And who resonated with that really got that.
And actually that is what we do now. That is what we tell others to do. Build that know, like and trust, build that rapport, be relatable. You've done it from the beginning. Yeah.
And I think that's what really broke down those barriers in terms of being relatable, for sure. So yeah, then God, it must have been 2015. About 4 years later and I'm not going to say for 4 years I grew the business solidly, because I didn't. I just picked it up if we wanted to go on holiday. I
get pocket money, yeah.
And I'd started to make some relationships with some bridal shops who were wanting to sell off their sample dresses. So I'd got like a base of contacts and some suppliers and stuff. And I approached the Prince's Trust to get a loan, to get a shop. And that's when stuff got real, because all of a sudden I've gone from having next to no overheads to a shop, electricity bills, gas bills, rent, rates, staff costs, all sorts. So things got a little bit more real, and I had to come up with a business plan. Never written a business plan in my life before then. And yeah, cue the second phase of kind of the bridal shop and that kind of business and stuff. But all of these things have kind of led to what I do now. So kind of never writing a business plan before, never thinking of a marketing strategy before. All of these things we've learned to do over, I've been in business now 12 years, maybe 12, 13 years. And these are things that you just pick up, you learn, you tweak, you grow, you test it out, you learn from your mistakes, you pick yourself back up again. And yeah, and you came to come and work for me, didn't you, Roxy, on day, was it day 2?
I think it might have been day 2, so I was just going to say, like, enter Roxy. Face through the bridal shop happened, and then Roxy entered the room. Well, I say room, I did it in a very embarrassing way, but I'll tell you more about that in a moment. So let me kind of rewind kind of back to the beginning of my little story. I'm not sure it's so little. Okay, so came from a very humble upbringing, and my mum was a single parent. We lived on a council estate. You know, she worked very hard, but being a single mum of 3, she didn't feel it was the right thing to do to have a full-time job, so she would just, you know, have like the little in school hours jobs, which I know lots of people can relate to, and I actually ended up doing that when I went on to have children. Kind of growing up, nothing special. None of my family had their own businesses or anything like that, so the fact that I run kind of a global successful business is like beyond me still. Sometimes I just think like, am I dreaming? Like wow. Pat myself on the back sometimes. I just think this was never something that I would have even thought that I would have had that confidence to do.
And then this is something that I've actually like said to you sometimes, and I like, yeah, especially over sort of the last, I'd say since kind of Feb March this year, when we've kind of looked at leveling up forward and how we can level our business up, and part of that has been looking backwards. So I touched on like mini beliefs or anything like that, or any limiting beliefs. We kind of delved into, didn't we? And I said, you know, part of your story is that you're probably like 3rd generation of, nobody really works full time, do they?
That's it. I am the first in my kind of family, so my mum, my sisters, who has got a full-time job. Not only that, but runs their own business, does a flipping good job of it, if I do say so myself. But that in itself brings some challenges, because that's kind of had to change. I've had to change the mindsets of my family a little bit about like working beliefs and stuff like that. And it has taken probably 3 years.
And your beliefs as well.
Yeah, definitely.
This is what, you were in a management position as well, so you went from no job, to you were kind of managing the shop within kind of 6 months-ish.
Oh yeah, I wrote that down to come to it in a minute. But so kind of after you know, leaving, well, growing up, I wanted to be a midwife. I don't know what it was. Like, I just love the idea of helping bring babies into the world and looking after pregnant mums and stuff like that. But I had the lowest confidence growing up, for lots of reasons that we won't go into today. But yeah, so I left school, went to our local college. I was doing a health and social care course. I don't know if you know this, I lasted 2 days. I literally was a college dropout, and that was because I walked in that room of like people that I didn't know, and I just couldn't do it. I just could not do it. So I literally dropped out, and then that made my confidence go even more downhill. So from that point, I had a couple of jobs, kind of part-time here and there, but again, nothing. I was following the pattern of my mum and kind of our own kind of job and money beliefs. Then went on to have babies, I would say very young. So I had my first baby when I was 17 and my second when I was 18. So I have now, which astounds people, I've now got 2 teenagers, one in his last year of secondary school and one in year 10, which is just mental, because like, where has that time gone? Like, all my life. So I spent quite a lot of my children's early years just bringing them up at home. I couldn't drive. Let's be honest, I wouldn't say boo to a goose. I kept myself to myself. I lived in a little village where I didn't know anybody, and I was just in my own little bubble. And I was quite happy in my own little bubble for probably 3 or 4 years. No, probably not actually. 2 or 3 years. And then unfortunately, my relationship broke down with the boy's dad. So I was literally on my own in a village that I didn't speak to anybody. And so something had to change. And that's kind of when I think I saw an advert for you were looking for somebody in the bridal shop, funnily enough, on Facebook.
Yeah.
Then I was like, okay,
And it was it just a Saturday position or Sundays? What was it? Saturday and
I think it was literally a Sunday position with the potential to have more hours for the right person. That's what I remember seeing. And at this point, I'd got a new partner, things were going really well. So I was like, okay, like he actually gave me a lot of confidence in myself and made me realise that I was a lot more than what I was believing. So at that point, I was like, okay, I'm going to apply for this job, which by the way was like 30 minutes in a car. I've got young children. I don't know how the childcare is going to work. I don't know how any of it's going to work, anything, but something just pulled me towards reaching out to you. And that was very out of character for me, like very, very out of character. And then
the rest is history. So yeah, like he came to work for us. Within kind of 6 months, we were at a level where, so we got quite a bit of traction, didn't we? And I think it was because the skills that we kind of picked up with marketing, from Facebook business. I bit of an avid networker actually, so I wasn't shy about picking up the phone and speaking to like PR agencies or newspapers and saying, you're gonna come and cover this, you're gonna come and cover this for me. But because there weren't the chains of bridal shops like there are now, like we were coming in at kind of like £2,000 under the average price of a dress, from a little boutique. We had a good story behind us. People seemed to support what we were doing, so we got quite a lot of traction quite quickly, didn't we? We were being picked up by the right people, being nominated for awards within the wedding industry and business awards as well. Within 12 months, we've outgrown our shop.
Didn't we? Yeah, I can remember when the landlord was like, "Oh, I've purchased the shop across the way," and we were peering through the window.
And that was 3 units. That shop was 3 units, and it had an upstairs as well. So it was kind of like the equivalent of 6 shops. So we went from one tiny boutique, split across 2 floors with 1 changing room, didn't we?
We did, yeah, we were.
To like a huge shop with like 4 changing rooms that would run simultaneously.
Yeah.
And then we expanded further to put a 5th changing room in.
It's actually crazy, like when we think about it, like how quick that expansion happened. But you know, we grafted hard, didn't we? Really?
We did. We grafted. We bootstrapped. We like cracked on. We grew a massive social media following, didn't we? That kind of came naturally to us, didn't we? And we would have people travel. This one always plays on my mind. We'd have people travel from Scotland, where we were in the East Midlands, like 9 to 10 hours traveling for bridesmaid dresses. Because
it's crazy.
We started to do these kind of like catwalk shows, didn't we, on a Friday? So we'd do these kind of catwalk live shows on a Friday, and we'd get like it started with a kind of like a few hundred people watching us, and it got to like a few thousand people watching us, then it got to like tens of thousands of people watching us at a time, wouldn't it? So we would have people watching us on the other side of the world, or kind of Scotland, Ireland, and then we were building that like trust, building that character up, and then people, when they came to want to purchase their dress or bridesmaid dresses or send their husbands in for their suit, they already had that relationship with us. And so
we really quick. Let's talk for a minute about the day that I actually came for my little interview into the shop. So the shop was opening, I can't remember, was it
probably like 3 days? That.
So I'm thinking in my head, and this might help you like understand a little bit where I was coming from when I said what I said. So in my head I'm thinking, oh my god, like I've met this like woman who's probably going to be my boss, and she's setting up this bridal shop, and it's only opening like a week, so I'm going to walk in and it's going to be like dresses, balloons, like it's going to be amazing. And when I walked in, I was just like, oh, is this it?
Because there was nothing.
Because it was like nothing. It was literally the opposite.
Did I ever show you pictures of what it looked like? Yeah, actually, it was like a vape shop when I took over. So it was this horrible.
Was it green on the outside and like
bright green
on the walls?
Sticky floor, like
doors
on the back. So yeah, we've done a lot to kind of get it to the point we'd like recarpeted, we'd redecorated, we'd had like
no, and I am really sorry, but obviously I don't know whether I made a good impression or not, but the point was I'm grateful to you because you believed in me where probably no one else had before. I didn't have any confidence. Oh my God, I pushed myself so far out of my comfort zone every day for probably 6 months. And then I remember you saying like, where do you want to be in 6 months, Roxy? And I like reluctantly said, as I looked down like I'm doing now, fiddling with my ring, I want to run the shop. Probably said it really quietly, whereas I should have said like, I want to run this joint. But yeah, so, and you believed in me, and we made it happen, didn't we?
Yeah, 100%. And that was I don't know if you'd ever been asked that before either. So like we were kind of like, right.
No, I've never been in for a job interview before.
So yeah, we did. We made it happen. We took on new lines. We took on new designers. We even got to a point where we were designing our own line of dresses, weren't we? So yeah, and we took on our own. We were making our own line of dresses. We were not just a bridal shop anymore. We had suits. We had bridesmaid dresses. We had a team of about 6 staff underneath us, and I kind of moved from kind of the front face of the business to kind of a little bit more behind the scenes, doing the businessy side of things, and Roxy kind of taking over that front of house and staff and the team that we had in there. So we kind of went from this 0 to 6-figure business, which I'm really proud of actually, because only 2% of women run 6-figure businesses. I don't know if you knew that statistic. We actually need to make it more women. Like, the world would not be such a mess. The government would not be such a mess. Like, the stuff that goes on in the world would not be such a mess if there were more women in powerful positions and more money in women's hands, let me tell you. Mm-hmm. So, aside from kind of all of this happening, it was a struggle consistently. Childcare balance, work balance. We were growing a rapidly growing business. So I'd taken this from nothing, working at home, and then did have quite a break before I decided to kind of take the plunge and get a shop to 6 figures in kind of 2 years, and a team of staff, and that came with a lot of pressure. And I wasn't 30 at the time. I was kind of like 28, 29, so relatively young to be kind of hitting those sort of figures and to have that level of responsibility. My marriage was failing. Like, my husband decided that he was, we won't go into it, but he left with no notice, alias bye sort of thing. Took the childcare with him, didn't have his children, left me kind of in the lurch financially, left me in the lurch with the kids, in terms of childcare. And that kind of last 12 months of running the shop was a constant juggle. Like, I relied hugely on Roxy and the staff team that we had inside of the shop to be kind of running the business. I couldn't be around as much anymore, and as that kind of happens, it means that we're not running as well oiled of a ship as I would have liked to have been, and started to fall out of love with the business a little bit. And it wasn't just falling out of love with the business, it was kind of just wasn't serving me anymore. So when I was kind of thinking, like, where do I want this to go, I was pouring so much energy into the shop. Like, it relied on us being there. It relied on us being there from like 9 till 5 every day, weekend.
Yeah, 7 days a week, like quite often in the lead up to the summer months, that wasn't it? Yeah.
Evening appointments, dragging the bridal shop. We'd take the bridal shop on the road as well. So we had like quite a lot of wedding fairs that wanted to work with us, and we got our name out quite big by that point. We'd won not just wedding industry awards, we'd also won some business awards. Yeah, we've got a lot of PR. We were on the TV, we were on the radio all of the time. So all of this is amazing for the business, but it obviously has to have systems underneath to support like the level of busyness that we were. And we were just getting flaked out and burnt out, weren't we? And it was just,
that's it, you know. And not to mention the fact that, you know, we had young children. So for me, my middle son was going through the diagnosis of ADHD, autism. Like, we love the bridal shop. I love bridal. I love talking bridal. Still, I'm like, oh, look at that A-line. Oh, I used to get excited when dresses have got pockets. What the hell? So it took its toll. well, especially your cup, kind of with your personal situation, your cup was way empty, wasn't it? And without even realising it.
Yeah, 100%. And I think as well, like, in terms of sustainability, it was kind of like, the whole point of running a business, right, is so that you can kind of make the decisions to have time off. And this business meant that for me and you, we could never take time off without the business suffering. So it relied on one of us consistently being there. My childcare situation was a little bit worse. Like, the pressure, the level of pressure that came was just insane. And aside from this as well, we were constantly being asked, and the type of people that we are as well, we like to help people. So not only were we serving our clients and our couples coming into the shop and all of the kind of stuff that comes with that, with ordering dresses in and appointments and keeping the shop busy and all of the marketing, we'd have this other side as well, where suppliers that we'd come from nobody knowing our names to, like, in national newspapers, on national television more than once.
Like, we were the face of, like, the Women in Business campaign, like, and we've even
we fronted. You know what, that actually was still, so we fronted that 3 years ago, and that actually was still used, like, last week. So our faces,
they should let us know these things, man.
Yeah, like, my face has been all over the London Palladium, which is mental. Like, we've been on buses in London, but also in our region as well. We came from nothing to, like,
Don't Tell the Bride. I mean, let's just cover that for a second. We was on Don't Tell the Bride. My face, guys, is on Netflix. Like, what the frick?
Yeah, we had all of these, like, really great opportunities, but we worked flipping damn hard for them. Let me tell you, like, we worked hard, didn't we? And we grafted, and we bootstrapped, and we learned, and we read books, and we
I don't know about you, Kate, but the more, like, success we had, the more I wanted, like, the more I was grafting. But how that's not sustainable forever, is it? Like, you can't go.
Yeah, that was it. I think one of the parts of the successes from the shop that came was that we, probably without even realising it, we were quite into, like, development. So we would have lots of team meetings where we would be constantly pushed outside of our comfort zones. We would do this thing called pitches.
Elevator pitches.
Yeah. Pitches bitches, or we would, like, learn how to pitch really quickly. Or
let me just tell you all as well, you think I'm, I can talk, like, I'm good at speaking or whatever. Every single time you'd say, Roxy, it's your go. Can't do it. Couldn't do it.
But yeah, you could run a bridal appointment with 15 kind of, because the
right. I can't, like, I'm not a performing monkey. It comes natural. I was top seller, man. I was top seller in that shop.
Yeah, so and all of these things that go into running a business, sales, customer relations, PR, marketing, all of these different heads that you have on. And so we had kind of that side of the business, and then we would have a lot of suppliers, the people in the industry, the local businesses that would kind of want a slice of the pie. So they would want to come and say, how have you got this successful? How come you've got 10,000 followers on Facebook? I've been in business 10 years and I've got 1,000 followers. How come your videos are reaching 120,000 people at a time when you publish a video? Like, do you need a magician to kind of come into the shop and do a video with you? Do you need, like, to pass our business cards on to so and so? We had cake makers in. Our shop got termed social club, didn't it? Because it did. Always people inside of our shop pitching their businesses, networking, getting to know, and that would take us away from the business quite a lot. So I was like, right, we need somewhere that we can go to network. Like, two things are happening here. Number one, like, we're giving all of these suppliers all of these tips inside of our own time, which is eating into time with our children, eating into time that we can spend in the business. And some of the time they would sit there for 2 hours. They would sit. We're a friendly team.
And I would bring the bridal appointment, doing all the lovely things. You'd be sat there kind of trapped in your little corner with
literally coaching people. So that's what I was doing, like, sitting and business coaching people for nothing. And then,
like I say, like, you're a very helpful person. You love talking. Like, you are you give information, don't you? I was like,
like,
shut up.
Yeah. So, that's where kind of, like, the wedding business club came from. Like, we needed a space so we could kind of go. There was nothing for wedding professionals. Like, yes, I could go and network with plumbers and electricians and decorators and website developers, SEO people. but there was nowhere for me to go and network with photographers, planners, florists, and all of the people in kind of side of the industry. And all of the success that we kind of had and built up, we did without really knowing anybody in the industry either. We didn't have like a black book of suppliers that we could rely on.
Yeah, similarly, so our bridal appointments were 2 hours long, so you'd get a lot of time to chat to the brides. And I always used to think, because I'd talk about the wedding planning and the stages that was at and the things that booked and the things they're going to book, and I used to just think, wouldn't it be just that good to be able to access those people rather than just hearing about them?
That's where it kind of came from. We wanted to solve two kind of problems that we were facing. So the first kind of problem was like just to have a space where suppliers could go to network and to talk to one another and share ideas and to ask the kind of questions and any of the training questions that they wanted to kind of know from me, that I was continually saying the same information over and over and over again to different people consistently. And this was something that at least 3 times a week we would have people inside of the shop there, like it was effectively being coached by us. And secondly, like for like this information purpose, like I was shattered, burnt out, absolutely shattered. Single parent to 2 children. My daughter was 2 when my husband left, so we were still going through kind of like the training, toilet training.
Yeah, and equally, what a precious time for them.
Let's not get into that. Bye. But all of that sort of stuff, like where you're still very much relied on, and you're supposed to mum and getting them off the dummy and sleeping through the night and all of the nappies and toilet training and all that sort of stuff. So I was really burnt out and knackered. We wanted to take where suppliers could talk to one another, get information. I wanted to kind of be able to just write a book about like the social media knowledge that we had, that people could kind of have something.
You could just be like, here, buy this book.
Yeah, something accessible that they could get the information from, and I didn't have to say it over and over again. So it was in the Feb of 2019 that we were like, right, we're going to pull a network together of wedding professionals online with the view to do a few meetups kind of around by us, wasn't it, right where we were based in the East Midlands. And then also we can put our skills to use. We'll be able to go on there and jump on a live video and say, this is what we're doing inside of our business, it's working, this is how we've been able to get PR, this is how we've been able to front national campaigns, this is how we've got grown from 0 to 6 figures. And it was somewhere that people could kind of go and access that information, because there wasn't really anything accessible in that middle range.
There wasn't
one-on-one coaching, which is often unaffordable for small businesses, or you kind of got non-specific advice and you kind of had to kind of go and figure it out for yourself. So
you kind of could get advice online, but like you'd have to find a way for that to fit in with your business rather than it being wedding industry specific and that. And I think when we opened our community, that was a game changer for the wedding industry, because it created that space, didn't it?
Yeah, and that's what it was. And then it kind of was going to be an extension of the shop, and like aside from the shop, we would have like this little project that would be
little how naive were we?
Little projects that we would kind of solve those problems that we were having, really. And it just kind of expanded. We put our knowledge into there, and actually probably we'd not kind of given ourselves as much credit as how quickly it was when we knew who we were going after, who we were focused, who we wanted to get our community in front of, like how quickly that would grow. So we grew it to kind of 2,000 people within 5 days, I think it was, or 6 days. And then that naturally ended up with people saying, God, girls, how have we done this? And then we kind of were very transparent in the way that we did that. We would do quite a lot of videos, don't we? This was pre-pod. So pre-podcast, we would do a lot of live videos. You can still go and check it out of the group. All of them were free. And then we also kind of brought out a little training manual. It was kind of not even that long. It was like 28 full pages long of like all of the things on Instagram that we were doing that was helping us to kind of reach our target client, what hashtags we were using, how we were reaching them, what kind of the features of Instagram were back in. Seems ages ago now. Instagram's got about 1 million updates since then. And that book took more than the bridal shop took in that month. And that was like the stop moment where we were like, okay. So we were like, right, okay, this is growing bigger than we think it's going to grow here. how much could we grow this if we actually focused on this full time, aside from the shop. And that became one of the pivoting moments as well. The second pivoting moment was we started to say, look, we're going to be doing networking. So we went from having kind of no networking whatsoever, or no groups of wedding professionals meeting up, to something like 20 groups signed up, like 20 regions, like counties signed up to put on networking events in our name in something like 3 weeks or 4 weeks.
Yeah. Wow. May I remind you all, we were still running the bridal shop, so we were already whacked, weren't we? We were already spreading ourselves very thin, and then we created this little project that was no longer little. Yeah,
and I think that was it. It was like, right, okay, what do we want going forward? And
I think for both of us, for very different reasons, like this was a big step, right? Like you because this was stepping away from the bridal shop, and for me it was from going from employed to self-employed.
Yeah, 100%. And I think as well, like that's what it was, like walking away from guaranteed income, guaranteed money, to a little bit again going into the unknown. I don't remember it being that scary, whereas now, kind of a few years on, I think,
I know. I wonder why that is. I think because we've had a couple of years of absolute carnage.
I think so, and I think maybe it was just that passion, and maybe naivety was just like, yes, this is going to work. Let's trust the process.
And I think as well, because we've been mega successful, we've been smashing it, we've been like you say, grafting, bootstrapping. We had that momentum and, like I said, that passion for it to work. So it was going to work.
Yeah, and that's kind of brings us on. Obviously, we weren't even kind of in it for kind of 10 months before the pandemic hit, and then we'd grown to that point to having events on 2 continents. It kind of moved very quickly. I mean, post-pandemic, we are a little less like go, aren't we? We're a little bit more like, let's have the systems in place to support this. Let's make sure it doesn't top up like a pack of cards.
Yeah, and I think that's something that all of us in the industry have learned to have the systems in place first, rather than, because at the beginning we were running before we were walking, but that was just because that was how it's going, so we went with it. But now we're a little bit older, a little bit wiser, systems are in place, we are doing things more precisely, aren't we, in a more structured way.
Yeah, and I think anybody kind of thinking and coming back thinking, oh God, like, I'm pretty much starting my business from scratch again. It's what we had to do. Our business is 95% events with a tiny bit of training. So we would do a tiny bit of training and a tiny bit of coaching. We weren't doing any one-to-ones at the time. Mostly it was networking events and training our team and expanding the regions that we were in, with a little bit of Instagram training that people could get hold of, or videos, online videos that they could get. And then 10 months after kind of building that up and having a team of kind of 50 odd people, it dried up to nothing.
It fizzled, yeah.
Absolutely nothing. Then we had to look at the business model and say, right, what are we doing, what are we changing? Now coming back, kind of, right, we've got the opportunity to start again now, but with experience, and that's kind of why we are coming back a little bit slower, aren't we? And like we want to be able to breathe, we want to be able to sleep. I'm very clear as to like the direction that I want the business to go in.
And actually, for me, and I don't know about for you, I know obviously COVID, no one wants to wish what happened like ever again, but a blessing in disguise, because it means we've had like a second chance, a second go at things, which means that we can do things better the second time around.
Yeah, more calm and collected. Like, we're very much know the types of people that we want to work with and stuff like that. I think some of the time you can get yourself, whenever you start any business, you're
very much a yes person.
Yeah, and you find yourself working with the wrong sorts of people and having the wrong sorts of people representing your brand or the clients that you work with. So yeah, that has been a positive that we can take from the experience that we've had over the last 2 years, really, that we've been able to kind of refocus and re-look at what we want our business to provide us with over the next few years, and then we can build our businesses to whatever we want to be. And that's the same for you listening. Like, your business can be whatever you want it to be. So that's exciting for us to be able to do that.
Yeah. And actually, and this kind of ties into, you know, where I started out. Look at the journey that I've been on and look at where I am now. You can literally do anything that you want to do. anything you set your mind to, if you want it enough, if you're passionate enough, manifest that shiz, it's going to happen.
Yeah, 100%. So we are going to be taking on new clients from October time of this year. So we're having a little bit of a summer break in terms of taking on clients. Our client books are full over the summer. But if you're wanting to work one-to-one with us, where we'll look over your business, look over your goals, make sure that you're heading in the right direction, make sure that your marketing is on point, or if you just need a helping hand in terms of you're attracting the wrong sorts of clients, or maybe you're going through a little bit of a change in your business and you need some eyes on your business and you'd like to work with us, you can get information by visiting our website, theweddingbusinesshub.com, sending us a message, and we'll be in touch with you as to how we can help you.
Yeah, we have got you guys, no matter what you want.
Yeah, really looking forward to you on the next pod. Enjoy the sunny weather. Everybody, keep hydrated, keep on keeping on. Thank you so much for listening to us ramble on all about our past life and where we are now inside of our business. Networking events are coming back, so keep your eyes peeled for those. So they'll be heading your way September time, so keep your eyes peeled in the areas that you're in. If you are somebody listening to this thinking, yes, girls, you sound like somebody that I want to work with, you can either work with us in the capacity that I've just told you about, or if you think you could run a networking event in your area, get in touch with us. You can get in touch with us by visiting theweddingbusinesshub.com, and yeah, we'll have a chat.
Yep, right. Today has left you feeling very motivated to go and smash out in your business, whatever it is that you want to do. And we will see you on the next episode.
Bye.
Take care, guys.